So what do we do if our emergency fund's not enough? So we kind of talked about this when we talked about medical debt. You know, sometimes you're just not going to be able to cover everything that a bill requires of you or that an emergency requires of you. So what do we do if our emergency fund's not enough? Let's walk down the line here. So obviously, the first thing you would do is just deplete any emergency fund you do have and throw it towards the thing, right? Other than the 1 month of expenses, just deplete down to that value. Then we're going to look at any taxable investment accounts we have or properties that we own that we can sell and turn into cash. We would want to do that next because those things, there aren't penalties with them. And we can go ahead and sell them and pay for the particular big debt that we can't afford. And then the worst case scenario is that you're so cash strapped or you have so little in assets that you have to, take out some type of debt. And I don't recommend this, but if you're left in a situation where you just have to pay something, then you're kind of stuck. You need to take care of it somehow. And we've talked about home equity lines of credit. Even though I don't like them, I don't want you to take them out. If you have to, once again, these are bankruptcy looming situations. Then you can take out a home equity line. You can use you can use credit cards that you may have. Again, bankruptcy looming type situation. Also personal loans, bankruptcy looming type situations. That's the only situation I want you to be running to debt to take care of something is if bankruptcy is looming on a particular thing. But it's going to be hard to come by debt if bankruptcy is looming anyway. So that's why I talked first about that home equity line because you can likely get to that because that is your own money that was put into that home. Now, if that thing can be paid off quickly, I talk about the credit card. The credit card is something where you can cover something real quick and I don't want to accrue much interest, right? So the credit card might be okay there. But if not, you may need some type of financing from a lender or, get a HELOC through a lender. And, this may simply be a medical bill that you can make payments on or dental work that you can make payments on, in which case, fantastic, make payments on it, right? But I'm talking about if you are forced to be paying some kind of big sum, that is a tough situation to be in. So I don't want you guys to fall behind on those bills. If you can set up a payment plan, then do so, and then put it in the middle of your debt repayment plan that we've talked about, and whether wherever it's at, smallest to largest, and attack. And so we've talked about all of those things, but you guys just need to know, if the emergency fund doesn't cover, then it's either going to turn into some type of debt for you, or you're going to have to start liquidating some things to cover that particular emergency. But just understand, once we do deplete that emergency fund and then we get our debts paid off and everything, we have to rebuild that emergency fund back up. We have to bring that thing back to 4 to 6 months of expenses at that point because we can't be in a position after that. So let's say, just for just example, let's say you're moving along well. You've got your 4 to 6 months, you've bought a house, you're saving for retirement, all these things, right? And you get to a point where a big medical issue happens and it's more than your emergency fund, but you throw your emergency fund at it, right? And then you get on a payment plan with the hospital or your doctor's office or whatever, and you start making those payments and you eventually pay it off. Well, now you do have a home where home repairs can pop up. We've talked about that today already. And you're in a place where, you've got a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things that can go wrong. You've got a car that might need repairs. You've got, you never know with dental work. You never know. All these things that we talked about previously could go wrong. You could lose a job, whatever. You have to make sure that you rebuild that emergency fund. The emergency fund is not just a one hit and quit. It's not just a, do it one time, have it done one time and be done with it. No, you're going to build it. And if you end up using it, build it back. Right? We want it to be built back. That way, if we ever need it again, we can use it again. Because obviously, you could need it because you did need it. And just know with emergency funds, we're playing probabilities, right? We're not trying to cover every single little emergency out there. We do not need to overdo it with our emergency funds, right? We do need an adequate amount. We do want something that puts cushion between you and life going wrong. But there's certain things you just cannot possibly insure against. So much tragedy that you just can't insure against. And that's okay, but we want to play the probabilities of things that are more likely and things that are not as extremely costly. Typically, the things that are more likely aren't the most costly things. We want to make sure that we can take care of things that are likely to happen or that could happen, but not things that are like, wow, that happened. Wow, that's unbelievable. No, we don't want to save up for those things, because then we'll be saving forever. We won't be able to start building wealth in our retirement accounts and investment accounts, and it's going to set us back if we spend too much time on the emergency fund. It'll set us back, and it'll set you in a cash-heavy position where you have too little in investments and you don't have enough of your money working for you. I understand tragedies are scary and emergencies are scary, but don't let them scare you into bad financial decisions. Don't let them scare you away from the statistics and away from the probabilities. I understand that things can go wrong and compound, but don't let them scare you off of your plan. Follow the financial action plan. You will not be sorry for following that plan, because it will walk you right down the line of the things that you need to do, and just do them in order. And if you get set back, come back even stronger the next time. Come back with a vengeance when you build that emergency fund back up. And for sure, if your particular situation changes and you start making more money, build it up more. If your expenses go up, build it up more. So it will help cover things if you were to lose a job or something like that. So just having that in place is so important, and it covers all of these ways to where it rains on your financial life. So undoubtedly, emergency funds are one of the most important pieces of a strong financial foundation. You are going to be hard pressed to get anywhere financially if you don't have some good liquid cash savings like an emergency fund that will help take care of things that come up along the way, because things will come up. Nobody's path is going to be perfectly smooth. Nobody's path is going to be perfect. So you need to understand that these emergency funds are necessary, and they'll cover all these things that maybe you don't think about. That's why I wanted to bring these things up today, is so you would actually think about how, it's actually pretty likely that my house needs repaired. It's actually, maybe more likely than I thought previously that I could lose my job in a layoff situation or whatever, or if the market were to tank, or if the economy tanks, whatever it may be, then my job is not as safe as I thought it was, or my car might need repair, whatever it may be, right? Any of these big emergencies that we talk about, you just want to be prepared. Or maybe you look and you go, my health is not that great. Maybe it's more likely that I'm going to have a big medical bill, so I need to have this emergency fund in place. Yeah, you do. We all do. No matter who you are, you need an emergency fund in place. Some people need one that's bigger than others, but everybody needs one. Everybody needs that cushion between them and the things that could happen in their life. And I want to, just push that on you. Make sure that you know that you do need that. It'll just bring you some more peace of mind and will allow you to be in a place that is much more comfortable financially.